Hi everyone, this is Megan Emery and today I'll be sharing with you a sample from my lesson plan titled 3D Print Like a Designer. The portion of my lesson that you'll be receiving today is a tour of a 3D printer designed for 15 students in grades 4 through 8 who would be learning in a public library or in a library makerspace and studying the subject area of technology or design.
My goal for today is twofold. First, my lesson intends to teach you the basic anatomy of a 3D printer, and second, the operations of how a 3D printer works. I've put together a few examples of some good 3D printing for you. On the far right, you can see a picture of the first 3D printed car. In the center, that child is holding a C-clip that we printed for use with rainbow looms so she wouldn't have to go out and buy more. And then finally on the far left is a floor plan from a traditional Roman villa that I acted as a helper while a student was creating it for a homework assignment he had coming up. But like everything, there can be a negative side to this. Faulty technology, parts needing to be replaced, bad files, and just failed prints in general. Understanding the anatomy of your 3D printer is the first step to printing successfully. So today, we'll review the most frequently referred to parts of the 3D printer, as well as the basics of how it works. To begin, we're going to head to the back of the 3D printer. Here you can see a spool of filament, and here you can see the PLA plastic from the spool of filament being threaded up through a tube. That tube comes down on this side, and the filament is pulled into the 3D printer's motor. Let's take a closer look at the 3D printer's motor. In the front of the motor is a fan that helps keep the unit cool while you're 3D printing. Although the fan keeps the motor cool, this piece, the extruder, gets quite hot. It actually gets up to over 400 degrees Fahrenheit, which is how the plastic melts and then gets pushed out of the printer into the pattern that you've designated. Here's a view of the 3D printer's motor from a different angle, underneath. You can actually see the filament being extruded from the extruder tip. If we take a look from the top of the 3D printer, there's the motor again. And these two pieces are the 3D printer's tracks. The motor slides from left to right on top of these tracks, and the tracks themselves slide from the front of the printer to the back of the printer. Now let's take a look at the printer from the front. At the top of the printer, you can see the motor and the tracks. At the bottom is the 3D printer's build plate. The build plate is a smooth surface on top of which all of your 3D prints are created. While the motor, going left to right and front to back using the tracks, provides your first two dimensions, the build plate raises and lowers, giving you the third dimension of your print. This piece is a display screen that keeps you up to date with what's happening on your printer. Let's take a closer look. Since the display screen tells you what's happening, we can see that currently it is heating the extruder tip, and we're at 34 degrees Celsius out of the possible 250 degrees Celsius that we've set the machine up to go to. Pretty simple, huh? Now you have a basic understanding of some of the parts of the 3D printer, as well as how we go from plastic to design. Now it's time for you to take a turn and see if you can locate the various parts of a 3D printer. First up, can you find the build plate? Ta-da! How about the display screen? There it is. A little bit trickier. Can you find the motor? Very good. How about the 3D printer tracks? There they are. Now, where's the spool of filament? That one was pretty easy. How about the extruder tip? Right where it should be. Can you find the fan? Right up front. Great job! Remember, good 3D printing will solve problems, not create them. Knowing these basic parts and the process of how a 3D print is created means that downloading or designing your own 3D prints will be a lot easier for you. Furthermore, troubleshooting your machine and figuring out when it's time to get into more advanced things like leveling your build plate or if you're dealing with a corrupt file will be a lot easier for you too. Finally, everyone available on the 4th floor is an asset for you. We're here to help you. So here's our hours, how to get to us, and a couple of ways for you to contact us in case you'd like to schedule an appointment to do some more 3D printing. Thanks for watching, everyone. I look forward to hearing your critiques, criticisms, and feedback in our discussions.